how's it going everyone? My name is Andrew and welcome back to Andrew's Aviation. As you've already seen from the title of this video, no joke, we'll actually be flying on Ethiopian Airlines to Hong Kong from Bangkok. I was surprised too when I found out this flight existed, but there's a good reason why, and it all has to do with what operating method an airline chooses to conduct its flights. There are three main methods for an airline to choose from, with each ranging in complexity and overlap: point to point, hub and spoke, and linear. I won't go into too much detail on this because that's a topic for another day. In Ethiopian's case, they operate mainly as a hub and spoke carrier where flights connect at their central hub in Addis Ababa and passengers continue their journeys on different flights than the ones they flew in on. But Ethiopian also has a lot of linear style routes with some short hops in between places like, for example, Addis Ababa and Oslo, which has a stopover in Stockholm. These kinds of flights are known as tag flights, which is where an airline will fly to one international destination and then immediately continue onward to another destination. With some airlines, you'll have to fly the entire route to take the second leg of the tag flight, like with Qantas's flights 11 and 12 between Sydney, Los Angeles, and New York, where the flights in between Los Angeles and New York are reserved only for passengers traveling to and from Sydney. But with Ethiopian, you can hop on board anytime you want. For another example, you don't have to fly all the way from Addis Ababa and make the stopover in Brussels just to make the flight in between Brussels and Manchester. These little hops and their availability make great opportunities to check out Ethiopian services, especially in my case, because I'm not sure when I'll get the chance to visit Ethiopia. And here's our Boeing 787-9 straight out of Addis Ababa, ready for another flight over to Hong Kong. This aircraft, nicknamed London, is just over 2 years old at the time of the flight and is leased from AerCap, the world's largest independent aircraft lessor. And something else odd about this plane. When I was doing my research on the tail number, I found an incident report from a year prior. Apparently, in December 2018, the plane was on the ground at Oslo International Airport when it struck a light pole at the de-icing pad. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and the only damage caused was a cancelled flight, someone's reputation, and a bill for a new light pole and right-wing leading edge slats.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello. Ethiopian 787s are configured in a two-class configuration, with the -9 version having 30 Cloud 9 business class seats and 285 economy seats. My group was one of the last aboard, and as you guys can see, it's very clear that this won't be a full flight. This isn't unusual, however, because with this flight, most of the passengers disembark in Bangkok, a few stay on board, and a few more board for the second leg. In total, I'd say there's only about 100 people on today's flight, which is awesome because I have the whole row to myself. Every seat on this plane has up-to-date technology, which is kind of a no-brainer because this plane is only 2 years old, right? That includes the IFE screens, which we'll get into later, a USB port, a double folding tray table, a power outlet below the seat, and a master control panel on the armrest for lights, call buttons, and IFE operation. In the seat pocket, apart from all the safety papers, Ethiopians filled it with a bunch of advertisements from a duty-free magazine and their own magazine called Selamata. The seat dimensions are kept standard across Ethiopian's long-haul aircraft and measure 32 inches of pitch and 17 inches of width. If you ask me, that's pretty good for a 3-hour flight. Every chair is made out of fabric with an adjustable headrest and a cool-looking logo cloth. And speaking of fabric, free blankets and pillows left over from the previous flight were provided, even though I don't think I'll have much use for them. The 787 is also known for having a lot of baggage space, and I can confirm that holds true. There's plenty of space in the overhead bins and under your seat for all your stuff, so I wouldn't worry too much about being forced to check your bag unless your flight is unbelievably crowded. After a lengthy safety presentation in English and Amharic, we pushed back and finally set off for Hong Kong. Can't say how glad I am that this plane didn't hit another light pole on the way out, and now we can all finally relax and check out the entertainment. Ethiopian's entertainment selections are unique in a way that they're actually completely average, especially when it comes to Western movies and TV. Their language selection is a bit more expansive, offering movies and TV in Amharic and other African languages aside from your typical translations. But other than that, the system offers a wide selection of music, games, documentaries, movies, TV shows, and just about every digital media genre you can think of. And no, that doesn't include Minecraft, sadly. There's pages where you can learn more about Ethiopian Airlines, their network, fleet, decode the matrix, and learn more about Ethiopian culture. The interactive flight map is pretty cool too. It's one of the more informational maps I've seen and is really similar to the one on Cathay Pacific, and that's totally not because they use the same system. If you've used the entertainment system on Cathay Pacific before, you definitely won't have any trouble navigating the one on Ethiopian. To be honest, not everything on this flight worked the way it should, so here's my quick rant. I ended up deciding to watch Captain America to pass the time because I've been living under a rock and haven't seen the movie yet, but I had to watch it with a ton of glare on the screen. Not gonna lie, every time I've flown the 787, I've had problems with the window controls. You're supposed to press this button to dim the window so you can watch movies or whatever, but the crew left it locked for some reason. Leaving the windows locked and unshaded is better than shaded though, because last time I was on the 787 was with American, and they locked the windows unshaded for the most of the flight and everything was blue outside. At least this time, that's not the case. A few minutes into my movie, a late lunch was served. Or is it actually an early dinner because it's technically that awkward time between the two meals? I'll let you guys decide, but either way, the food probably cost the airline $4 to make, so let's unwrap everything and see what we got. Everyone had the choice of beef, chicken, or vegetarian for their main course. I ended up with some barbecue chicken with rice, which had a bit of a kick to it. I can only tolerate around a medium amount of spice, and this chicken was flavorful, but pushing my limits. Thankfully, the rice helped to cool things down. For our side dish, we had a cold kidney bean, pinto bean, and chickpea salad with mustard sauce. This one wasn't as spicy, but had a strong mustard flavor, which was still enjoyable in my opinion. Off to the side, we have your typical concessions like cheese and crackers and a dinner roll with butter. And for dessert, a cranberry granola bar. Not what I'd expect from a so-called dessert, but still sweet and enjoyable nonetheless. Combine all those items with a Coke, a washcloth, and plastic cutlery, and we got ourselves a full meal. Was it a good $4 spent by Ethiopian? I would say yes. Hopefully the food on any flight isn't too spicy for people, because this place will be ground zero when it's all over. But besides that possibility, the bathrooms on the 787 are very spacious and clean. There aren't any special soaps, lotions, or any other sundries, but I'm confident you won't have to resort to anything barbaric to get by. Not a moment after I finished my movie, we began our descent into Hong Kong, and as we came down, Ethiopian put on some calming music over the PA. Not sure what its exact purpose is, but it was relaxing to hear the music and look out over the ocean. So what is Ethiopian Airlines like? Well, with their 4-star rating on Skytrax, it's hard to argue that they aren't a decent carrier. On this flight, the atmosphere was nice, the food was acceptable, the aircraft seemed clean, and the entertainment looked fruitful. The only shortcomings were the windows and, I have to be honest here, the service. The crew on this flight were nice and polite, but they weren't as attentive. The only thing that was off was when I finished my meal, it took the crew a while to come and collect the tray and garbage. I wasn't complaining that they weren't there at all, which they were, but I'm just glad that I had the seat next to me empty so I could get all my stuff out of the way. Speaking of stuff or baggage, the baggage policy on Ethiopian is very generous. Their cheapest ticket is a regular economy ticket and not a reduced fare type ticket, so you don't have to worry about extra baggage fees unless you have a truckload of stuff with you. The official allowances for economy are 1 piece of hand luggage, 1 carry-on bag, and 2 pieces of checked bags, all for free on long-haul flights. Seat selection in advance on international flights also won't cost you a dime. So in the end, when you pay for your flight on Ethiopian, you won't have to pay for anything else after that, and know you'll get the full service. With everything that's happened in the last few hours, I can say that I had an enjoyable flight. It was really cool to experience an African carrier for the first time, and I'd be happy to fly with Ethiopian again and maybe see Addis Ababa in the future. And when I say future at the time of making this video, I mean a long time from now. Since COVID-19 is still rampaging around the world, I hope everyone is staying home and avoiding germs whenever they can. When this outbreak is over, we can all plan exotic trips as much as we'd like, but for now, let's just get cozy with our cupboards full of canned food and toilet paper. So with my flight over, that's all my thoughts and opinions. What do you guys think of Ethiopian Airlines? Any thoughts or stories you'd like to share? Let me know down in the comments below. Well, that's it for me today. I'm gonna go back to playing games in isolation with my friends online like all us gamers should do. If you like this video, pound that like button and subscribe to Andrew's Aviation for some more dank videos. And, as always, have a wonderful day everyone, and stay safe.